Good evening to every single person out in the virtual grandstand. My name is Tristan Earps and welcome in to the final round of racing here for the RACEFACE.PRO RACEFACE.PRO Red Star Pro-Am GT3 Championship for Season 19. We are at the final leg end of the season here. See, round 8 of Season 19 at the very wet Nürburgring. We witnessed it last night at the Sprint Series and have seen it here back live tonight. With the Prime division smacking it hard around the track, so wonderful to be here. And then just for everybody to also know, please remember that we do have the RACEFACE.PRO PokerBet GT3 Championship Season 19 being streamed. That's the Pro division, and that is also on the RACEFACE.PRO YouTube channel. That is being streamed by fellow commentator Stephen Koenig. So if you are interested, keep tabs on the Pro stream, as this is our final race. This is indeed the final pinnacle moment where we'll be handing out our grand prizes. Obviously, we know that for the main Pro division, someone will be going away with their share of 150,000 Rand in cash and PokerBet credits. And we all know for the Pro-Am division, Red Star has provided and sponsored that track experience to the winner of the Pro-Am division here at RACEFACE.PRO. So absolutely amazing spectacles to be witnessing over here at the RACEFACE. So incredible stuff, and we are now at the final point of this championship. And as we see someone going a little bit AWOL over there, but actually that would look like a Pandassi driver. That is indeed the likes of Rowan van der Walt. But everyone is now coming to the final point of realization that there is no more after this. This is the final race, the final push to try and get themselves over that line and into a position that they want to be in the championship standings. That is what we're going to be looking at for tonight. And let's quickly go and have a look at what we are looking at going into the final round here for the Prime division. So Johan Blichnoot currently leads the championship with a whopping 263 points. Currently, Johan Blichnoot sitting out on track for the Omnius Gaming Nitro Ford Mustang. He's currently got a 63-point gap to the likes of Gerrit Bukes, sitting behind him with 203 points. Gerrit Bukes also somewhere on track, currently in first position actually with a 2 minutes and 7.2. So great stuff from him so far. And Gerrit Bukes got the support and the spectatorship and fellowship of Sumer Bukes in the virtual grandstand, saying good luck drivers, ending off the season with some showers, making for some fun racing. Go Gerrit and Chris. Hashtag send it. I think that's definitely going to be the hashtag and the motivational message behind this race. It's going to be a hashtag send it. There's no more racing after this, so people have got to do what they got to do and get over the line. Then in third place, we've got the likes of Henry Platt. He's currently sitting third in the championship with 199 points. So if he finishes better than the likes of Gerrit Bukes in this race, he will take Gerrit Bukes away from second position and push himself up onto the second position of that podium. Carrot Bukes will go down into 3rd position, and then we'll be under threat from the likes of Gerard Pretorius in 4th. Gerard Pretorius also for the Griffin Sim Racing Ferrari. He's been throwing it around majorly around this season, and he's been doing pretty well as well. And then to round off our top 5, we've got the likes of Richard van Heerde, who is currently sitting with 153 points. Actually just behind the likes of Gerard Pretorius in track and on the championship standings. And they are going to be pushing it down to the wire to see who can come out in top. As we know, Gerard Pretorius sitting on 156 and Richard van Heerde sitting on 153. So 3 points difference for these two drivers coming into the final round. It's going to be a pinnacle moment and a crucial moment for both of them. And they're going to have to play the cards of who is the better Ferrari, who is the better driver, who is the better Michael Schumacher here in the rain. And funny enough, at the track where the Schumacher S's are very much so present. So, looking at what we are so far seeing, Carrot Dukes currently sits out nicely in first, 2 minutes and 5.7. He currently holds the current fastest time for this session. Jean-Ray Buerta, the livery man for Team Karugma Racing, currently 0.9 seconds down with a 2.6707. 2.06707, sorry about that. Henry Platt now pushes himself up into 2nd place now with a 2.06270. So he's starting to put himself up there. He knows what he has to do to try and take Carrot Bukes away from 2nd position. And a sad thing to mention, and we don't always like to see this, as you know, it's sometimes, you know, it unfortunately takes away from the suspension, as unfortunately Henry Platt getting a little bit excited there on the rear side of that McLaren. But we have crowned, can I English? Sorry guys. We have already crowned a champion for the RACEFACE.PRO Red Star GT3 Pro-Am Championship, and that will be the likes of Johan Bluchnoot. He is currently 63 points in the lead over the likes. Where on earth is Johan Bluchnoot? There he is down there. He's currently got a gap of 60 points on the dot from the likes of Carrot Dukes in 2nd, and unfortunately the maximum points you can score is 52 points if you get 1st position as well as the fastest lap. So even if Carrot Dukes finished 1st and Johan Bluchnoot DNF'd from this race, it wouldn't be enough for him to take Johan Bluchnoot away from the championship lead. So unfortunately he will, if no stewarding issues come into play, he will be taking this championship, and he will be taking the track experience home. But still, plenty stuff on the line here. Drivers are going to be pushing regardless of if championship points are set in stone. So the likes of Carrot Dukes is still very much so under pressure from the likes of Henry Platt behind him. He can't just give up now, which is what he's not going to do. He's got people in the virtual grandstand to support him. I believe that was the likes of Donnie Steenkamp, who unfortunately went spinning around there. That's a little bit unfortunate to see. But that is what's going to be happening a lot tonight. Cars are going to be losing the rear a lot. We saw it last night in the sprint series. And quite a few accidents. I believe they counted 22 contact points on the first turn of lap 1, which is quite crazy. But let's go have a little bit of a flashback to the virtual grandstand. Currently, we've got a couple more people coming in to support our Pro-Am drivers. Necro Crooks saying, go Ulrich, go GSRT for the win. Absolutely so. There we go. Another person coming in to support the Griffin Sim Racing team. Currently, Donnie Steenkamp, one of the Griffin Sim Racing drivers, pushing it harder on the track. Another one that we also have noted is the likes of Carrot Pretorius. He's also one of the upper incoming Griffin Sim Racing drivers. We've got Kalen Mauer saying, hooyah, go, go, go. There's lots and lots of pressure for this race, and the virtual grandstand is not making it one to miss. They are here to support. They're here to make it one to remember for the RACEFACE.PRO Red Star Pro-Am GT3 Championship for Season 19. We go into Season 20 before the end of this year, which is absolutely amazing that we'll be getting one more season, which is absolutely incredible. Necro Krug saying, go Gerard. Gerard currently still trying to push himself up. He currently has got a time on the board, but currently sitting in 9th position with a 2 minutes and 7.177. Sorry, if he said a 2 minutes and 2, he would be flying. And Joan Fenter saying, hi, go Paul Fenter. Unfortunately, Mr. Joan Fenter, I believe Paul Fenter is in the other division for tonight. He's in Pro. So if you're wanting to go and support him, make sure to go check it out on the RACEFACE.PRO YouTube channel. He's racing in the Pro division because this is currently the Pro-Am division. So I don't think the, Paul Fenter is here. He is definitely in the Pro side of things. Alright, but I mean, continuing to look at our list, Ronald Child, unfortunately someone who has lost the car into the sand trap. managing to keep away from any form of damage. And something to actually note about Ronald Childs, he has changed liveries almost every single race I've noticed. He had an orange livery, he's had a green livery, and now he's got a purple livery rocking on that DEC Aston Martin, which is absolutely incredible. Not to worry at all, Joan Fenter. Make sure you pop around here as well to come and watch here. The Pro-Am drivers have definitely got a lot of skill to showcase. But yeah, if you're looking for Paul Fenter, he's in the other division, probably cracking along around this very, very wet Nürburgring. Mark Hennebury also, one of the drivers in one of the more rare cars that we've been mentioning across the season, the Honda NSX 2019, one of the oldest cars on grid, matching the Aston Martin, throwing it around right now for Slick Racing. He's had quite a good season in that Honda. And Mark Hennebury, someone who we know has always taken a challenging car. We know he's loved the Bentley. We've seen him throwing it around in the Endurance Series, and now he's out here with the Honda NSX, throwing it around track here at the very wet Nürburgring. So let's hope it floats as well as it drives, because it does not look like the weather is going to be cutting off today. We saw a full wet session for the Sprint Series, and I'm expecting to see the exact same for this race. We've got an hour and 20 minutes of racing after this qualifying session, which is happening in about 2.5 minutes, and we're looking at 15 degrees on the track. So that is extremely low temperatures, and that is going to cause the drivers to have a little bit of traction issues, which we've already seen in this qualifying session. And it's going to happen a lot more in the race with that rear end sliding out. Jason Landsberg now up into the second place position for the custom team Jason Aston Martin 2019. The AMR Vantage pushing up nicely over there. He's currently sitting with a 2 minutes and 5.827. So great stuff from him. But Garrett Bukes currently still dominating the field right now with a 2 minutes and 5.0. And that is absolutely incredible. So he's going to be trying to rip it all up. Reginald Mittelani, the Noob Nation Evo McLaren, also been throwing it around this track. 2 minutes and 7.8 currently his best time, which is great stuff to see. Henk Pieterse, who we saw had a bit of a struggle last night in the Sprint Series. He had a very, very close moment, which means Steven almost had a bit of a slip-up. We got very nerve-wracked when Henk Pieterse just missed contact for a standstill car on the Schumacher S's, and he almost went straight into them and managed to avoid. But he had a bit of a challenging race tonight, possibly trying to redeem himself tonight. And as he determines that this lap was not it, he's going to pull into the pit lane and try again. So great stuff from him. He's been throwing around Johan Verviers for the hybrid racing Ferrari. Also someone who we know has been doing incredibly well this season. He's been putting a lot of pressure on some of these drivers. He did incredibly well in one of the races previously where he was putting pressure on the top three. Bradley Searle, one of the new Pandacity drivers, also throwing it around here for the Pro-Am division. He's trying to find these bearings in that Ferrari. He also struggled, unfortunately, a bit last night. A couple of the Pandacity guys, unfortunately, struggling a little bit last night with traction of that rear end, and we saw a couple of incidents from them. But that is definitely not some form of targeting. We see that in a lot of drivers here, as there's been quite a few drivers who unfortunately struggled. And we're going to see it tonight. It's going to happen because of how wet the circuit is. Donnie Steenkamp's currently sitting still in 15th position for the GSR Racing. Ian Upton, someone who's also had a bit of a challenging season, is still busy throwing it around track for the Project Vapor Ferrari. But we've got 20 seconds left now of this qualifying session. Garrett Bukes currently sits in first position with a 2 minutes and 5 flat. Jason Landsberg follows, and then Henry Platt. Mark Henry follows him. Chris Collison nicely up into the top 5. Jean de Boerta, Ronald Childs, Gerard Pretorius, Bradley Searle, Johan Verviers, Richard van Heerden, Ron Liebenberg, Jonathan Chislett, Ron van der Walt, Donnie Steenkamp, Ian Upton, Ulrich de Jager, Reginald Mittelani, Feist Tar, Henk Pieterse, Arno Kraus, Johan Blichnoot, and Gavin Scruton, who crosses over the grid. I don't know if this is going to be his only qualifying lap as he comes across. Is it going to be enough to push himself somewhere up? And he gets 22nd after doing one qualifying lap. So not too great from him. He's going to start from very, very far down on the grid. Arno Kraus also looking to redeem himself, currently on a flyer lap. Let's see what he can do in that Ford Mustang. On board with him now. Will he be able to try and make a difference in the Ford Mustang? Currently sitting with a 2 minutes and 8.1. Will it be enough for him to bring it around and challenge up into the top 15s and the top 10s? We'll have to see. Jason Landsberg also still throwing it out on track, trying to better his time and take Garrett Bukes for Storm. So that's what he's going to be trying to do. He's currently 0.05 seconds up on his current Delta. So doing incredibly well. And he's going to continue to try and push to see if he can bring that car a little bit up. Henry Platt currently sitting in the pit lane. Reginald Mittelani, also someone who's still out. He's just pulled into the pit lane. And pulled the car in. Ronald Childs just comes across the line. It's not going to be enough for him. Cara Pretorius completely jumping the chicane there and unfortunately losing the car on the grass. That is not going to be what you want when you're trying to set a qualifying lap. But let's go further down the grid to someone who's coming around now to the final part. Will Arno Kraus be able to pull it out of the bottom 20s and bring it up? We've got 23 drivers on the active grid here for the final race of the season. Will Arno Kraus be able to bring it up? He comes across the line. Will it be enough for him? And unfortunately not. He sits 22nd. Ian Upton, here he comes around the corner, the final driver on track. Will it be enough for him as he comes across the line? And he does not move as well. Down into 17th still, and that is where he's going to sit for now. Awesome, guys. We're going to head into a short break briefly while we wait for the grid to form. And we will see you guys as soon as we are back. Awesome. We'll see you guys soon. Alrighty, all, and we are back on grid. Sorry, we were having a couple of difficulties to let the trackside assistance let us on track for some reason. It was not allowing me to hop in the comm box here, but we're in. We are ready to go. The drivers are lined up and they are ready to go crazy over here. We're looking at a nice little pan view of the grid as it starts to full up over here. And some of these drivers starting to get ready now. We've got 1 minute left before we begin our formation lap, and that is going to be the main thing to think about. Damn, look at how those start-finish lights are echoing through the grid because of the amount of rain on tracks. Incredible stuff. But there's a nice big shot of our full grid, and as you can see, it's an absolutely astonishingly sized grid right now. And 23 drivers ready to rock it up on the Nürburgring over here. They are ready. The track is wet. The cars are shivering a little bit out there, but we'll have to see what they can do. Currently, Johan Blicknote, our championship lead, sitting all the way at the back of the grid, not doing a qualifying lap. So I believe that is on purpose. I think he knows that he does indeed have this championship snatched already, and he is just going to try and bring it across the line. Johan Rousseau saying, go Johan Blicknote, and there's a couple of supporters coming in for the Omnius Gaming family. And he's going to try and just rev it up from the backside of the grid, see what he can bring through, and possibly just bring in more points that he actually doesn't need. But he's going to do it for fun in any case. It's the final round. What's the point of not participating? You know, there's no fun in that. So he is going to be ripping it up still to try and bring a couple more results as we head into the final round over here. So here we go. Coyote Bukes is going to be breaking from the grid as we start our first start of our formation lap. And there he breaks off. The rest of the cars are going to start to follow him behind. And that is what we're going to be seeing while the drivers start pulling off. They're going to want to try and get those tires neatly warmed up before the start of this race. You do not want cold tires, especially in circumstances like this. Cold tires and a wet track do not blend nicely. Those tires are going to be up to temperature and sticky enough to try and stick to a track that is basically providing no form of stickness. It's almost telling you, stuff you're going to end up in the grass, or you're going to touch the wet curb and it's going to be over for you. But that is what they're hoping is not going to happen. That's exactly why they want to try and get that car ready for the beginning of the race. We're going to be seeing some jump starts, well, jumps on the start, not a jump start, sorry, jumps on the start of lap 1. We saw it last night in the sprint series where some drivers got the upper hand on launch, and we might be seeing it tonight again. Arjun Balder saying go Gerrit and Chris. So Gerrit Bukes receiving a little bit more support now in the commentary box for the Sim Alpha SRS Yellow Hornet Racing. Oh, I cannot get enough of that car, man. It looks so aggressive on that Ferrari, and he's going to be ripping it up at the top of the field to try and see if he can stay away from the likes of Henry Platt in third position. And Gerrit and Chris, I believe the only Chris we've got in here was the likes of Chris Langerfeld. No, we've got Chris Collison. Apologies about that. Chris Langerfeld is actually not racing tonight, so he won't be here, so which means this is our only Chris on grid. But Chris Collison has been doing some incredible stuff this season. He's also been ripping it up in that Ferrari, and he's going to continue to do it for the final round over here. And stay tuned as we go around the formation lap here. We're getting around the hairpin towards the middle sector of the track now, and then we're going to be starting to start our first lap, which is going to be a high, energetic, very, very fast-paced and close race. We're going to be seeing it from all of these drivers from first place. So let's look at our starting grid before we start. Jared Bukes rounds it up, followed by Jason Landsberg, Henry Platt, Mark Hennebury in 4th position, followed by Johan Viviers, Reginald Mittelany, Chris Collison, Ronald Charles, Jean-Ray Buerta, Gerrit Pretorius, Bradley Searle, Ruan Liebenberg, Richard van Heerden, Jonathan Chislett, Ron van der Walt, Donnie Steenkamp, Ulrich de Jager, Ian Upton, Feist Tar, Hank Petersen, Arno Kraus, Gavin Scruton, and Johan Bloknoot rocks up and closes off the grid for the final time in the RACEFACE.PRO Red Star Pro-Am GT3 Championship here for Season 19, Round 8 at the Nürburgring. They're going to be trying to bring those cars around and make it count for one last time. Feist Tar is going to be doing that. He's been rocking it around the track, and he is going to try and bring it through on the final round over here. He's got an hour and 20 minutes to try and prove that he is an amazing driver, which he knows he is. And all of these drivers actually showing their incredible amounts of skill. We're going to head over to the helicam, though, with Tim in the helicam over here. Let's hop on board with him. There we go. He's hovering nicely above that yellow Hornet of Jared Bukes. Watching the start as we see a couple of these drivers start to formulate down into turn 1. We're going to see a major concertina effect as we go down this main straight. Everyone's going to pundle into that downhill turn 1. And sometimes it can cause for an accident on the first turn due to the downhill. But here we go. Coming up to the line, Jeff is going to be holding that flag, getting ready for it. We're holding the 70-kilometer speed limit. Coming across the line, it's a green flag. Ron van der Walt gets a drive-through penalty, unfortunately, on the start of the race. And Jared Bukes seems to have gotten away very nicely. Jason Landsberg under pressure from Mark Hennebury. Henry Platt has lost start as well. But coming into braking there, Mark Hennebury braking a little bit late, almost going to the backs of the likes of Jared Bukes. And everyone is starting to develop now further down the pack. How is it developing? Everyone seems to have come out fine. The whole grid seems to have been done well. Let's go to the back of the grid. Johan Bloknoot is still at the back of the grid, but fighting it through. We've got a couple of drivers going off track over there. And great stuff from the first. Mark Hennebury from 4th position up into 2nd from first turn by just jumping the gun and getting it absolutely settled in, and the car perfectly how he should. Car number 22 seems to have had a little bit of a bumper touch there. That is the likes of Chris Collison. He had an accident with Jean-Ray Buerta. Let's flash back 10 seconds to see if we can see that Jean-Ray Buerta. Let's see, where is the likes of Chris Collison? He's a little bit further up ahead already, so I believe we missed that incident, unfortunately. But amazing spectacles, unfortunately. Henry Platt is in 20th position. So Henry Platt, unfortunately, has lost out. No, he's coming back up, sorry. That was just a little bit of a catch-up for the telemetry software. It did indeed look like Henry Platt had lost out, but he's doing all fine. As I say it, loses the car and goes on the sand. So does the likes of Ronald Charles behind. There goes Johan Viviers making the overtake on Henry Platt. He's really struggling out there in that McLaren. Not able to find the traction he wants. Jared Bukes and Mark Henry pulling away now. And Mark Henry seeming to be a little bit of a reign champion here. He's chasing down Jared Bukes and putting a lot of pressure on the back of that Ferrari, trying to show that he is indeed the boss. He's intimidating him as much as he can. Johan Bloknoot has gotten himself into the rear pack over there. He's overtaken a couple of drivers already. Now trying to make a position on the limping Ron van der Walt, who has already got to go through a drive-through penalty for unfortunately not holding speed limit at the start of the race. Gavin Scruton also losing out from starting further down the line. He's unfortunately not had a good start. Reginald Mittelany has had an absolutely amazing start, up into 7th position after lap 1. He's now chasing down the likes of Gerrit Pretorius. So great stuff from him. Richard van Heerden also not having the greatest launches, down into 8th position. Jason Landsberg, who was starting very high up, has unfortunately lost out majorly. So not too great from him. He has really dropped off pace there. And he did indeed have a bit of a tap on lap 1, which is exactly why we see him down there. Ron van der Walt serving that drive through as quick as he can, getting it done with and getting it out the way. But now, Jared Bukes, we've got a yellow flag down there. That looks like... Who is that yellow flag? We've got an accident for number 113. That would be the likes of... Where's our 113? Bradley Searle. Let's flash back 10 seconds. Oh, there's Bradley Searle. Unfortunately, lost the car coming out of turn 1, and he's lost a couple of positions. I believe he's down near the backside of the pack now, unfortunately, due to that incident. And he is. He's only got one driver behind him, which would be his teammate of Ron van der Vold. So not too great going there for the Pandacity drivers. Unfortunately, missing out a little bit. But continuing fighting up in the top of the pack there. Jason Landsberg keeping nicely behind the likes of Richard van Heerden. And Jonathan Chislett also doing incredibly well. He's chasing down the likes of Ron Liebenberg, who is holding him up over there a little bit. Now, let's jump onto the track cameras. We've had enough action there with Tim in the helicam. Let's try get down and dirty with these drivers down on the very dirty track surface. And wetness is not helping these drivers at all. Garrett Buke starting to give a little bit of space here to Mark Henry. Weird thing. Oh, my goodness. So, Mark Henry and Garrett Bukes have both set the fastest lap of the session. They are exactly on the exact same lap times at 2 minutes and 9.340. So they both hold the current fastest lap. I never knew that was a thing. That's actually quite crazy. So both of them nicely up into the top now, starting to pull away from the rest of the drivers. Johan Verveer is trying to bring it back, but he is not doing too well to do that. Ronald Childs making a couple of mistakes behind the likes of Johan Verveer's. He is trying to push as much as he can to get up to the top of the packs. Carrot Pretorius also trying to hunt down now. Reginald Mitteleni up into 6th position. And Henry Platt is really not doing too well down in 7th. If this is how his race is going to go, he's not going to get the jump on the likes of Carrot Bukes. And he's going to stay in 3rd position, unfortunately. We've got another accident for number 27. That's the likes of Ian Upton. I believe there was a little bit of a tap coming into the likes of turn 1. Let's see what happens here. I think it was just a little bit of tapping that went on. Nothing that I can really see. No, nothing I can really see from Ian Upton. I did see that there was an accident. Accident now again for the car number 96. That is the likes of Ruan Liebenberg. Again, I think a little bit of a tap. Oh, no, Ruan Liebenberg having a full spin around into turn 1. So, unfortunately, some of these drivers are really not doing too well into turn 1. Losing a lot of traction on that downhill. And he's already behind the likes of Johan Bluknoot, who's fought up to 17th position already. So, up 5 to 6 positions. 6 positions already after a couple of laps. Now starting to flash the likes of Ulrich de Arche in front of him to let him know that he's ready to make an overtake almost. So, interesting speculation. So unfortunate stuff here from Ruan Liebenberg. He has lost out from 11th to 19th after that spin. So very major drop off from him. Fight Star also doing incredibly well. He's kept the car going. He's pulling it up very nicely. Currently sitting behind the likes of Donnie Steenkamp in that big Ford Mustang. And that thing has been described to be a literal boat because of how heavy it is. It's actually got stabilizers on the underneath. No, I'm just kidding. But that car literally looks like it could have some oars at the outside of the windows and you could just swim because of how big it is. I mean, it's a massive car, major top speed. And I believe did he just make an overtake on the likes of Henry Platt? Is that Henry Platt, who's unfortunately down to 13th, the number 9 car? Did he have a bit of an accident? Henry Platt, there he is behind the likes of Reginald Mitteleni. And still behind Reginald Mitteleni, goes out on the outside, starts losing the car, and unfortunately Henry Platt straight into the wall. That's damage for the McLaren for Team Tryhard Racing, and he drops very far down, all the way just in front of Donnie Steenkamp, but then unfortunately also losing the position to Donnie Steenkamp. So unfortunate stuff from him. There's been an accident again with the likes of the 777 car. That is the likes of Reginald Mitteleni having a bit of an accident. Let's see what happens. I think it might have just been a couple of taps. That happened right now. Did anything happen? It doesn't look like anything happened, so maybe nothing too serious. Maybe a little bit of drafting or bumper tapping, but he's up into 6th. Great stuff from him. Ronald Childs also performing very nicely. The issue that Ronald Childs has had this season is that he sometimes gets those unlucky penalties that pushes him very far down. We've seen it with him. We've seen him with Vessel Voda, who is unfortunately not here tonight. 2 drivers who have suffered majorly from penalties this season. They do incredibly well up in the top of the pack, and then they receive a drive-through or a stop-go or something similar, and it unfortunately sets them off completely of this race. So we're going to have to keep an eye on him to see if he keeps it consistent. Ulrich de Arche currently chasing the likes of Johan Bluknoot, who I think just made a position on him, and that is going to be a position change. So Johan Bluknoot up into 15th position already. Now under pressure from Ulrich de Arche. 5-star a little bit ahead of the likes of, that would be the likes of Johan Bluknoot. So he's going to try and contest against the championship leader now. I don't know how hard he's going to push. He's still got the likes of Henry Platt in front, who, as we mentioned, has dropped off. But we've got 2 minutes now until our pit window opens. Remember, there's a 10-minute gap between the pit window at the end of the race and there's a 10-minute gap between the pit window at the beginning of the race and end of the race. Sorry, I know which one I said first. So it essentially means after 10 minutes of racing, the pit window opens, and then when there is 10 minutes left of racing, the pit window closes. So people cannot do those final dive-in pit stops. They have to get it done before 10-minute limit of the race. Otherwise, they will be missing out, unfortunately, which is not what they want. But that is going to be the play of strategy, where some drivers are going to be pulling in early to get the pit stops done, and some drivers are going to be pulling in way later, according to how they're feeling on track. You know, if you're feeling really good, there's no point in ruining that stride of rhythm. Rather keep that chain of command, and keep pushing on the track. But unfortunately, if you're not feeling too good, you're feeling like, you know, the car's not really behaving, and you're starting to lose a little bit of control of the car, it's actually better to go into the pit lane, get a fresh set of tires on, possibly if you need it, get a little bit of fuel in the car, have a little bit of a brain reset and a little bit of a relaxation in the pit lane while your crew takes care of you, and then come back out stronger than ever. Reginald Mittelani currently under heavy pressure right now from the likes of Gerrit Pretorius and Ronald Childs. Oh, and as I say it, Reginald Mittelani getting a bit of a tap there. Let's go into the helicam to see what happened there. Reginald Mittelani, I don't know who's at fault here, dives up the inside. Oh, and unfortunately goes out very wide of the track. That did look like the Ferrari tried to give him as much space as possible, and unfortunately just not enough for Reginald Mittelani, going a little bit wide and getting a bit of a tap. Fortunately not losing out too many places, down from 6th to 9th position, so not too bad from him. He's going to continue trying to push the number 777 McLaren from Noob Nation Evo. He's now got the likes of Jonathan Chislett behind him, putting pressure in 10th. And Mustafa Narodian also, no, that's Ian Upton. Unfortunately, Mustafa Narodian not with us tonight. He's been here the whole season, so unfortunately missing us tonight, not a great thing to see, but that is just sometimes what happens in racing. So now Ian Upton in 11th position trying to fight, and he's going to be trying to push through. Ronald Childs is in 4th, doing incredibly well as well. Johan Vier is in 3rd position, and then he's still trying to chase down the likes of Mark Hennebury in 2nd position, who's currently chasing down Gerrit Bukes, who now does indeed hold the fastest lap. Hunty Myberg in the chat saying, keep pushing, guys. He knows how strenuous it is out here to try and keep those cars balanced and under control. It's not an easy thing in the rain, and that is a challenge of why the rain gods have decided to pour down here at Nürburgring and make it a little bit of a challenge for these drivers, you know, in the last hour, well, we're about to head into our final hour of the RACEFACE.PRO RedStar GT3 Pro Championship. And I remember that the Pro Division is also being streamed by the likes of Stephen Koenig. That is the title sponsorship of PokerBet. So go ahead and have a look at that. They're also doing incredibly well. But don't forget that PokerBet is doing the Welcome to the Table Play for Free Win for Real initiative. That's the new 20,000 Rand weekly free roll for the previous week's signups every Sunday at 7:15 at night time. So make sure you don't miss that. That is brought to you by PokerBet, the title sponsor of the RACEFACE.PRO GT3 Sprint and Championship Season 19 and Season 12. So make sure you don't miss out on that from PokerBet. But back to the action now. These drivers are pushing incredibly hard to try and get everything that they can do, and you can see a couple of pit stops coming in. Chris Collison doing a pit stop now. Ron Liebenberg into the pit. Onno Kraus, Henk Pieterse, Ulrich de Jager into the pit lane. Reginald Mittelani coming into the pit after that tap that he got, unfortunately. So he's decided to pull the car in, get it fixed up, and get a new fresh mindset in to continue pushing. Chris Collison getting a stop-go 32nd. Onno Kraus getting a drive-through. A double whammy coming out of the pit lane, unfortunately, for these two drivers. They've unfortunately both received penalties. Samir Bukes in the virtual grandstand saying, my nerves, looking forward to a few weeks break. Racing was just too exciting this season. Absolutely. We've got a couple weeks break before we start season 20. Can you believe it's 20 seasons of adrenaline-filled racing here at RACEFACE.PRO. And yeah, a little bit of break for these drivers to, you know, reset, get a nice new mindset for the next season. And that's going to be nice for the associated family members as well. Arjun Balder saying, come on, Chris Collison, get back up to the front. You can do it. A little bit of motivation for the likes of Chris Collison to try and push that car back up to the top. He has unfortunately lost a bit of motivation now after getting that stop-go penalty, which is the worst kind of penalty you can get, because you've got to stop the car, wait for 30 seconds, and leave the pit lane again. It's not as simple as a drive-through where you get to just make a quick pass-through. But he's going to have to just try and push through. There's no excuse to quit. He's on the final race of the season. So whatever happens here, it's got to stay here. You can't quit and go, oh, well, we'll try again next season. That looked like a BMW almost went sideways there. I don't know if it did. That was a little bit scary to watch. I won't lie. That almost looked like the likes of Ron van der Voort started to go a little bit sideways as he goes completely off track there, losing a little bit of traction there from the BMW. So he's really struggling in that Pandasti Infiltrate BMW M4 GT3, losing a little bit of traction. Now Henk Peterson, now the last car on grid, 3 laps behind. So unfortunately getting not even any pit stops done. So a little bit weird from him. I don't know if he disconnected or had to pit when pit window was closed, but unfortunately that is what had to happen for him. Garrett Buke still sitting in first position. He's now starting to develop a bit of a gap now to the likes of Mark Henry behind, who's in second position. And Mark Henry is going to continue to put pressure on him for the next hour and 6 minutes. That's how long we got to run until the end of the season. So incredible scenes. Don't go anywhere. And it's going to be an absolutely amazing one. Continuing down, though, Price Tar, someone we've been speaking about a little bit tonight, is up into 10th position already after some of the pit stops have been performed. So up into 10th, incredible stuff from him. He started to pull a little bit of weight now at the rainy Nürburgring. Gavin Scruton, currently the first driver on the grid who has got their first pit stop out of the way, then followed by Jason Landsberg. And Jean-Ray Burt, the delivery man, up in 16th now after completing one of his pit stops. Reginald Delaney also down into 17th behind Jean-Ray Burt. Also one pit stop done. Ron Liebenberg, Roy De Jager, Chris Collison currently serving his stop-go. That will not count as a pit as well, which is so heartbreaking. You're essentially doing a full pit stop that does not count. It's what sucks. That is why a stop-go is the worst compared to a drive-through, because you spend so much time that is completely wasted. That could have been done on finishing off your pit stops and then just pushing for the remainder of the race. So that is unfortunately what he has to deal with, and he's going to have to try and improve himself going into the next season to not get those kind of penalties, because you can see how much of a risk it plays. He's now third last in this race due to that penalty, which is unfortunate to see. But following up on the order, Ronald Child also still sitting up in fourth. Mark Henry now the fastest lap of the session. He's already gained almost a full second to the likes of Garrett Bukes. So Garrett Bukes possibly struggling up ahead in that Ferrari Sim Alpha SRS Yellow Hornet, as he's starting to lose a little bit of time to the likes of Mark Henry behind. And he's going to have to start to pull up his socks if he doesn't want to get overtaken. Thankfully, Mark Henry, not too much of a championship standings competitor compared to Garrett Bukes, so he's not too further up there. He won't be risking anything for Garrett Bukes. Garrett Bukes' only competition right now is the likes of Henry Platt, who's down in 13th, and he's still got 2 pit stops to do. So still a while from him. He's going to have to wait and see what can happen. And that is what is indeed going to happen. Donnie Steenkamp in 10th position now, coming out of the pit lane. He's just done the pit stop. Will he be the highest pit stop, the first pit stop finisher in the race, coming out in 19th? No, he won't. So unfortunately, Jason Landsberg will still hold that as he comes out in 14th. Jason Landsberg currently sitting on track, the first driver in terms of champion, or in terms of track grid standing, to have all of his pit stops done. So great stuff from him. Johan Bloknoot currently sitting in 11th position now from last. Obviously still 2 pit stops left to go, but he's doing incredibly well to keep that Mustang on rails. He hasn't been making any mistakes tonight, actually. You can see he's very much in the zone to try and chase down the top runners and try and gain even more points that he doesn't actually need for tonight. But Mark Henry, let's see if he is starting to catch up now. Indeed, he's not. So 2.8 seconds gap already from him and Garrett Bukes. He's already starting to pick up more time now, which is super unfortunate for the likes of Mark Henry. And Johan Vivier is following behind them. He's currently also not actually really gaining any time to them. And he's going to have to try and push Ronald Childs a little bit further behind in 4th. And Gerard Pretorius in 5th position for the Griffin Sim Racing car. Richard van Heerden in 6th for the Green Hulk Project Vapor for a 296, a car who has been a definite competitor for the season. Ian Upton in 7th position, also doing incredibly well. And that is indeed what is going to happen. I'm going to quickly have a short 10-second break. I just need to quickly do something here, and then we'll be right back. Don't miss out on the action. We're going to go onto the helicam so that you guys can see some aerial views of the top runners here. Let's try to find a nice busy pack. That looks like a busy pack. Awesome. We'll be back in a couple of seconds. Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back on track now, ready to throw it out again for another hour. And these guys are going to be pushing still towards the end. Bradley still up into 10th position, currently still got 2 mandatory pit stops. He's currently got pressure behind from the likes of Johan Bluknoot, who is a little bit further behind. Henry Platt, who's unfortunately struggling a little bit. He's already lost a couple of seconds to Johan Bluknoot. That's already a 4.6 second gap between the likes of the two. And unfortunately not too great for him. He started very high up in second and he's lost it all the way down to the likes of 12th. So unfortunately not that great for him. And he has not had the best time, and he's hoping that it starts to get better. And that is indeed what he's going to try and hope for. But currently still 19 minutes have gone of this session. We're about to crack down on the 1 hour mark. 50 minutes left of the pit window. And our drivers are going to need to start playing those strategy cards as the time starts to elapse. We do not want that Monza turn of events in round 2 where we had drivers missing the pit window. That was a tragic moment, and we're hoping that it doesn't happen again. Reginald Mitteleni, currently in 15th. He's doing quite well for having a pit stop done, and he's going to continue to try and push Arno Kraus and Chris Collison a little bit further down the list. Obviously, we mentioned that Chris Collison unfortunately getting that stop go, which is why he's so far down. I believe Henk Pieterse has unfortunately pulled the car in. So Henk Pieterse, the first driver to unfortunately DNF from this race, he's in fourth. He has in 23rd position and he's in pits. He only completed 4 running laps. So unfortunate from him, he has decided to pull out for the end of the season. I'd advise you, Henk Pieterse, if anyone in the virtual grandstand has contact with Henk Pieterse, to tell him to get back in that car and push the car until the end. I mean, come on, this is the final race of season 19. You cannot go anywhere. I mean, come on, we've got nothing left to lose after this, so try and get him back on track, as that would be ideal. Arno Kraus losing the rear end over there. We caught him at a little bit of a bad time there. He's like, come on guys, why can't you flash onto me while I'm going through the Schumacher S's like in style? Instead we have to get him as he comes out of it and starts to lose the end of that Mustang. But actually, thankfully, being able to keep the car nicely in tune and in check. But continuing further up the grid, Ron Liebenberg still in 15th position, and they are going to be still trying to push. We've now got Arjun Baldin saying, amazing design, Sumer. I'm assuming Sumer is the designer of the Sim Alpha SRS car that leads Gerrit Dukes, the number 3 Ferrari, who's currently throwing it around track. He's doing incredibly well still, and he's going to continue to keep pushing. As you can see on the rear belt over there, he's got a couple of little bit of headlights in the background there. That's the likes of Mark Henry, who is going to continue to try and push until the end of this race, but it might not be enough. So Mark Henry is going to have to try and make it count, or else, unfortunately, he will not be finishing in first position. Gerrit Dukes is not going to make it easy for him either, and that is indeed how it's going to continue to go. But following still further on this, Ian Upton also doing incredibly well, still currently sitting with a 2 minutes and 6.545. He's going to come across the line now. Let's see if he's improving. 2 minutes 6.532. So indeed, he's going faster and faster each lap. That is now his new fastest time, and he is doing well so far, finding a nice good balance in the car. About 5/10 slower, unfortunately, compared to Gerrit Dukes with the 2 minutes and 5.0. So he's really throwing it around that track, trying to keep that car very nicely in balance. Compare that to our championship leader. His best is a 2.6.3. So a little bit slower. I don't think he's trying to push the car as much up into 10th position. He's currently just actually having fun in the background over there, and still continue to try and push. Jonathan Chislett, he looks like he's rocking like a 2001 McLaren Formula 1 livery. I don't know if anyone else can see that, but if you know the iconic McLaren Formula 1 livery, you know, the one that looks like, you know, grey and then a black. I mean, it's a very attractive looking livery, especially on that Aston Martin, I won't lie to you. And Jonathan Chislett has made that car look good for the couple of races that he's actually done in this season here at season 19 of the RACEFACE.PRO, PokerBet, and RedStar GT3 Championship. So great stuff from him. And he's going to continue to try and push around the circuit. John Rebuerta in the Team Kerugma Racing Porsche, currently the highest Porsche on grid. The only Porsche on grid to follow is the likes of Ron Liebenberg. So the Porsche is not too popular this season that we've actually seen in the Pro-Am division. There's a couple more Porsches in the Pro division, but I think it's a little bit of a hard car to drive. From what I've heard from people who have driven this car, it's a little bit unstable in the rear. It doesn't like it too much when you put too much pressure on it, and it's very fast out of the corners, but unfortunately its top speed does not compare to some of the other cars, such as the Ford Mustang that absolutely eats the Porsche for breakfast on a straight. But the Porsche definitely a corner contender, such like the 2010 Red Bull cars. But yeah, very, very light car, very hard to drive. It tends to snap out very easily, so I do commend all the drivers who throw the Porsche around and turn it into a machine that can definitely pull in some points. The guys at Kurugma Racing have done it incredibly well. Strano Buerta has held it for the whole season, and he has managed to pull that car up nicely, and he's going to continue to do that for these final couple of minutes left of the session. 56 minutes now of the session left, so incredible stuff from him. Ronald Child still sitting up in fourth. He's currently chasing down the likes of Johan Viviers, and a little bit further down though, unfortunately, a bit of a gap between the two. Carrot Pretorius is, I believe, just got in front of Ronald Child. No, so Carrot Pretorius is currently under pressure from Richard van Heerden, so he has a little bit of fight going on for fifth. And this is going to be a fight towards the end of the race. Even these guys have been fighting for most of the season as well. And like we mentioned, currently sitting behind each other on in the championship. So incredible stuff from them. They've been doing well, and they're going to continue to push it for this final round. So continuing further down, Bradley Searle and Rowan Liebenberg, two of the Pandacity guys, currently sitting near the back side of the pack, 15th and 16th, pushing around track. It looks like we've unfortunately lost another driver. I'm only seeing 20 yards, so unfortunately Donnie Steenkamp, we've lost him. Donnie Steenkamp has unfortunately lost connection. I'm not too sure if it's on purpose or by unfortunate zero control. I'm actually hoping it's out of no control. You know, it's not a great thing if someone decides to disconnect out of force of habit or out of not enjoying the race. I mean, come on, it's the final race. Push the car, get it done with, and then you can have a nice little 4-week break before we start again in October. But unfortunate scenes from them. They're wanting to try and push the car to the end, and that is exactly what they're going to do. Alright, but continuing still along the grid, Jason Landsberg still doing well in the Aston Martin AML Vantage. In 12th position now, like we mentioned, the highest position driver who's got one pit stop finished. Ahead of him is Henry Platt, who still has 2 full pit stops to do, and all the drivers ahead also still 2 pit stops to do. Just also mention, Johan Billichnoot already up into 9th position after only 11 laps, 12 laps now, from last all the way up into 9th position. So he's been doing incredibly well, and he's going to continue to try and push that car through the grid as much as he can before the end of the race. Alrighty, but continuing onwards, we've got the guys on the virtual grandstand saying you should check next season's livery. So I believe that's for the likes of Carrot Bukes. He's going to be rocking a new livery for next season. Hopefully something, well, I don't really know what can beat this, so man, Bukes, this livery, like I've mentioned, it's so aggressive and it looks absolutely amazing. You know, he has been rocking it like crazy this season, leading that car very nicely around track for some of the races. And he's had a great race himself. Actually, let's go check the standings quickly. Check how many times has Carrot Bukes brought that car to fame on the podium. So round 3, Carrot Bukes finished in 2nd. Round 5 and round 6. I believe that is right. Is that round 6? Round 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so that's only for round 6. So a little bit weird. But he's been throwing it around track for for a while now, and doing incredibly well. And that is indeed what is going to be happening. So great stuff from them. And that is going to be what we're going to be watching. I just wanted to quickly pop a quick message to the likes of Hansi Myberg. I'm just going to quickly request something just so that we can have it for the end of this race. Okay, cool. So those metrics I gave you in the beginning of the race with the likes of the drivers and their point situation, please ignore that. That was unfortunately not updated up until round 7. That was updated up until round 6, not round 7, unfortunately. So some drivers, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so that's only up until round 6. We're on round 8. So we're looking for the updated penalty points. I mean, not penalty points, championship standings. We're going to be waiting for those to try and see the actual relative of where drivers need to finish. Samir Buke saying as long as it's white, black, and yellow, he'll drive it. Okay, so Carrot Buke's definitely having some form of liking towards the color yellow. Seems to be a bit of a fast color for him. You can see he's throwing it around track. He's been doing it around the track since round 1. Currently flashing back markers. Look at him. He's showing that intimidation of that car as he rounds it up for the final round here. And he's going to continue to do that. Mark Henry also doing incredibly well still in second position, followed by Johan Verveers. Let's have a look if we've received what we asked for. Unfortunately, not just yet. And still following up on the grid as we follow on further. Ulrich Diache in 17th position, Gavin Scruton in 18th. And that is so far the following order of the current standings. Sorry for the brief disruption, everybody. Just quickly sorting a couple of things out here. Just trying to get the championship standings sorted so that we have a live comparison just to see where everyone needs to finish in order to get those maximum points that we're looking for. But Johan Bloknoot still throwing it around track in 9th position for that Ford Mustang. He's making that car look like light work. He hasn't had any form of accident so far. He's kept the car in tune. He's kept it safe. And he's going to continue to do that, pushing that car to its absolute limit and seeing if the Ford Mustang was indeed the right choice. So far, according to positions and standings, also what we saw in the Sprint Series last night, is that we actually had a Mustang finish in the top 3 for the Sprint Series. And here we have a Mustang finishing in the top 3 as well, which is great stuff to see. So the Mustang definitely being a dominating figure for its first debut season here at RaceFace. This is the first time the Mustang is featured. It was obviously added, obviously as everybody knows, it was added just at the beginning of the season, and RaceFace thankfully allowed some of the drivers to pick it before we actually started the season, which is great to see. We're seeing the Mustang being thrown around track for all those hardcore American V8 lovers. I mean, listen to the onboard of this car. I mean, it sounds absolutely mental. This car is a very, very big engine V8. It's rocking around track, and it has been a definite threat to some of the other drivers as it's been posing all around the track in its flashy big style. But Firestyle also doing incredibly well, currently sitting in 10th position, but behind the likes of Johan Bloknoot. He also started very low down on the grid, so bringing it nicely back up. And that is going to be his aim. I believe that is his personal cat on the roof, bringing him a bunch of luck as he rocks it around track. He's had a pretty good luck so far, bringing it back from very far down, and he's already up into a position higher than Henry Platt, who started up in 2nd, and he's now unfortunately all the way down in 11th. So unfortunate stuff for him. He's still trying to pull himself back. He hasn't gotten the damage repaired on that McLaren. It's obviously because he hasn't actually done any form of pit stops. So we'll have to see if he does get repairs done whenever he does decide to put that McLaren. But we are approaching the distance of a sprint race, almost 45 minutes and the halfway mark for this race. And 40 minutes being halfway, 45 being the length of a sprint. And we'll have to see where everyone starts to lie towards halfway mark. Jean-Ray Buerta also still ripping it up for the Team Krogma Racing, throwing it around very nicely for the Porsche. Reginald Mittelani following up behind him for the Noob Nation, Eva McLaren. He's also doing incredibly well still. Ron Liebenberg, someone who has been struggling a little bit on track, but he's managed to keep the car under nice cool pressures for that Porsche. Bradley Searle following behind him in 16th position. And then Ulrich Diache for the Griffin Sim Racing car down in 17th position. Gavin Scruton, after having a 1 pit stop done, down in 18th. He's got the likes of Rowan van der Walt behind, who still has 2 full pit stops to do. So unfortunately, Rowan van der Walt not having the best time here and losing a couple of positions, unfortunately, due to that drive-through he got in the beginning of the race. I believe he got a drive-through. Yeah, he got a drive-through at the beginning, and that obviously set him very far back. That drive-through didn't even count. It wouldn't have even counted because we had no pit window A, and drive-throughs do not count as a pit, especially one of the mandatory pit stops here at RaceFace. And so that just added to his total time, unfortunately. But let's just have a check here. No, okay, cool. So we're still waiting for those championship standings. Unfortunately, I'm unable to access them as they are private standings, so that we can try and keep it secret for the end of the season. But just trying to get an update for that before the end of this race. Not too sure if Hansi is still in chat in the virtual grandstand. If Hansi, if you're in virtual grandstand, just trying to request those standings from you, just so that we can get an accurate total tally for the virtual grandstand over here. But still following up the list, Ian Upton also sitting in 6th position. He is still chasing down the likes of Richard van Heerden, and Richard van Heerden unfortunately dropping off a little bit from the likes of Gerard Pretorius. They were fighting very hard a little bit earlier on in the race, and unfortunately losing out a little bit of time there. You can see it's about a 2-second gap between the likes of them, and now the likes of Ian Upton is starting to catch up to the little pack. He's now 3 seconds behind Richard van Heerden, slowly starting to make way. You can see it there in the top of the minimap, that all 3 of them currently on the main straight are not too far away from each other. Neither is the likes of Johan Bluknoot, up into 7th place already, chasing down Ian Upton in 6th. So he's been throwing that car very well, much so around the track. His best being at 2 minutes and 5.5, whereas Gerard Bukes is the best of 2 minutes and 4.84. So he's really showing who's boss here at the Nürburgring, throwing that car very nicely around track, showing that he is indeed the one who's fastest, and currently holding the fastest time of the session, which just proves that he is pushing that car to its utmost max. Like Steven said last night, after this, the car gets sold off, and according to insurance, it was driven by a granny. You know, these are not GT3 cars. No. They haven't been throwing at 240 Ks around tracks. They're just little gentle cars that have not had a long life. But in reality, they've done 8 hardcore adrenaline-filled seasons here at RACEFACE, and as much as the drivers want to break, I can imagine the cars also needing a bit of a break to try and re-establish, get a couple of new parts in, and go ham back out of there. This in specific, this Ferrari has been at almost every single race, if I'm not mistaken. Let's have a look at the so far standings that we mentioned up until round 6. And Gerard Dukes has been here since the start. So is the likes of Johan Bluknoot and Henry Meyer. They've all been here since the start of this championship, running hard at it until the end of the line. So that's what they're going to continue doing until that checkered flag for the final time shows tonight, and that is going to signal that these drivers can finally have a bit of a break. Ron van der Walt doing his first pit stop now. That's unfortunately probably going to push him down near the end of the pack, but it does look like Chris Collison is unfortunately a couple of laps down from the rest of the grid. But here he comes around. I think this might outlap himself from the likes of Ron van der Walt. Will it indeed? So he's up into 21st. Will Ron van der Walt get booted down, or is Chris Collison an entire... No, so there comes Ron van der Walt just outside of the likes of Chris Collison. Chris Collison will nicely be up into 20th now after Ron van der Walt gets demoted down to 21st. And now we are just under the time limit of a sprint race. So imagine last night we just started the race, theoretically, 45 minutes to go, 33 minutes pit window to go here, and that is what we're going to continue to see for the remainder of this race. Almost halfway mark already. That's how fast this race goes. And if the wants of Johan Bluknoot is to try and get himself up to the top 5, he's going to have to start pushing that car as hard as he can and try and get himself nicely up there. Currently, Mark Henry has decided to pit. He's down into 6th position now, which means that the likes of Johan Bluknoot is up into the top 5. But Mark Henry does have the advantage of not having to do 2 pit stops. He's only going to do 1 more, and then he is officially done for the night. So great stuff from him to get that part done with. He doesn't have to worry too much. But as you can see, the rain is still absolutely pouring down, and it's not going to stop at all. We've checked the weather forecast for the remainder of the race, and it looks like it's not dying down. It's definitely going to be here until the end, and that is exactly what we're going to be seeing. It's putting the pressure on these drivers. You can see how much mud and dirt has been gathered on the side of these cars as they push it around the track for the final 40-ish minutes. We're approaching halfway mark very closely now, and since we're at the halfway mark, let's have a look at the running order, and then we'll go through that amazing little thing that PokerBet is bringing to every one of you. So Gerard Bukes currently still sitting in 1st place, the Sim Alpha SRS Yellow Hornet car, pushing it around track. Still Johan Verveer sitting in 2nd position, followed by Richard van Heerden. Ian Upton in 4th position. Johan Bluknoot now up into top 5. Mark Henry in 6th position, Henry Platt in 7th, 5-star up into 8th position, Jason Landsberg down into 9th, Jean-Ray Buerta in 10th, Ronald Childs in 11th, Reginald Mitteleni in 12th, Jonathan Chislett in 13th, Harry Pretorius running off in 14th, Bradley Searle in 15th position, then followed by Ruben Liebenberg in 16th, Ulrich Diache in 17th position, Gavin Scruton following behind in 18th, then Arno Kraus in 19th position, Chris Collison in 20th position, Ron van der Vold in 21st, Donnie Steenkamp, who's unfortunately no longer with us, and that is the final round off of the race, as Donnie Steenkamp and Henk Pieterse have dropped off from this race, which is unfortunate to see. But let's have a look again for some of those people who have just joined us in the virtual grandstand. PokerBet is again doing the Welcome to the Table Play for Free Win for Real initiative, where the new 2,000 Rand weekly free roll for the previous week sign-ups is happening, and that's happening every Sunday at 7:15. And that's weekly at 7:15 every single Sunday night. So make sure you go and have a look at that. The amazing little things that PokerBet is bringing to everyone, and it's also bringing it together. You know, the amount of stuff that they're bringing to us here at RACEFACE. It's always an incredible thing to see. So let's head back to the main point of action here, and still doing incredibly well. I actually needed to move this a little bit. I'm seeing that that's a little bit in the way there. Let's try and move that up. Is that visible? Yeah, that's visible. Cool. Just making sure that everyone can also still see the time of day that we're still racing over here. And we are now just about to cross the 40-minute mark before the end of this race. So waiting 10 seconds, and then we will be at halfway point of this race, and drivers will get that signal from Jeff once it hits the halfway point, that halfway through the race, as has happened now. As you can see, there we go. Halfway point has just initialized, and that means that drivers are going to have to start to play it safe. Now, Gerrit Bukes into the pit lane to do his first pit stop. He's trying to do the undercut. Ruben Liebenberg, now the first driver on track, out into 17th position with no pit stops left to be done. So, good little undertake initiative going on from him there. Unfortunately, having to do that after dropping off so far back. So, that's a good strat called by him to get that pit stop out of the way. And that is going to boost him up a little bit if the people continue to fight up ahead. So good stuff from him so far, but Gerrit Bukes doing his pit stop now. He is in second, and Johan Viviers is net P1 currently, sitting in first position, followed by Richard van Heerden, who's in second, and in third position already, the likes of Johan Blichnoot sitting in third position, so doing great already to get that car up and rolling towards the top of the grid. So great stuff from him. And already up into third. So after doing his pit stop, he'll obviously get pushed a little bit further down. Ian Upton now into the pit lane, as he's only parking up now, so he's going to lose a couple of positions to the drivers behind. He's going to lose it to all of the drivers who have done a pit stop already. Gavin Scruton, another driver who has now done all of his pit stops. He's done in 21st, unfortunately. Ruben Liebenberg is still sitting in 17th, so he's got a little bit of an upper hand. But Gavin Scruton currently the last driver on grid for now, until everybody else starts to do their final couple of pit stops. So getting his strategy done, he's just got to keep that car clean and consistent up until the end of the race, and he will be walking away nicely from this race. So he's got to continue that up. 5-star a little bit further down the grid now after doing one of his pit stops, down into 16th position. He's going to gain a position on Ulrich Diache, who's pulling in to do his final pit, and that will mark him as finished as well. So great stuff from him. Jason Landsberg still sitting in 8th position, followed by the likes of Jean-Ray Buerta, and the list goes on of all these amazing drivers. Alrighty then, but continuing on the current action at hand, Jason Landsberg still sitting in 6th position. Gerrit Bukes still holding the fastest lap of a 2 minutes and 4.492. Jeepers, that is fast compared to some of the other runners. Johan Blichnoot currently best is a 2.5560. So a whole second essentially ahead of the likes of Johan Blichnoot in terms of fastest lap. Henry Platt down in 6th position now. He's still got 2 pit stops left to do. He's under pressure from Jason Landsberg, who's already done 1 pit stop. So unfortunate stuff for Henry Platt. He is going to lose a couple of track positions there after doing that pit stop. Jean-Ray Buerta and Ronald Childs also still fighting it out in 8th and 9th, followed by Reginald McElhaney, who crosses off our top 10 now with 35 or 36 minutes left to go. The Noob Nation 777 720S Evo. Wow, that's a lot of sevens, Reginald. 777 720S Evo. Very, very big mouthful of sevens. As long as he finishes above 7, I think all is good. So that's what he's aiming for. Currently up in the top 10. Jason Chislett now coming to the pit lane to make his pit stop count. And that is going to be his final pit stop. So he is going to be showing green as well. So good stuff from him. Getting those pit stops done so that he doesn't have to do any more for this race. And that is going to play a nice little undercut from some of the top drivers. But currently Johan Blucknote chasing down the likes of Richard van Heerden in second. Johan Blucknote a little bit further back. Currently a 7-second gap between the likes of the two as they try and hunt each other down. But Mark Henry not far off from Johan Blucknote at all. And Mark Henry already done one pit stop. Garrett Bukes, I think, has actually lost out from Mark Henry. But what we know from Mark Henry, what he usually does is he uses his first pit stop as the splash and dash, and then does his main pit stop at the end, usually when he performs his second pit stop. So that is exactly why we're seeing the likes of Mark Henry getting the jump on Garrett Bukes. He's probably done a much faster pit strategy, getting the car out there to try and make it quick and counting. And here comes Jonathan Chislett coming out of the pit lane now. And he is officially clear down into 17th position. Oh, manages just to save the car, but that was a very, very close call for Jonathan Chislett. I think that was just a little bit too much aggression coming out of the pit lane over there. Very, very close to actually damaging the rear side of that Aston Martin, but it manages to keep the car nice and safe. But almost a very, very big incident there. He almost went back into the road and collided with Chris Collison, who's currently just ahead of him. That could have been a very, very dangerous accident, but thankfully it was not. So continue to drive around. And Chris Collison, actually a very interesting color scheme rocking on that Ferrari. He's rocking a red and black. Nice colors that work with each other. But then for his trim, he's rocking like a very light lime green. That's all along the edges and the trims of the car. We see it on the edge of the spoiler, the mirrors, the fenders, and the splitters. And I mean, that's quite a cool looking thing over there. It's a nice little break from color. We see that also very much on the Pandacity cars. And that looks like Ron van der Walt has... There he is over there. He was just cutting out a frame there. That looks very much similar to the Pandacity drivers with their pink trim, which looks very aggressive as well. Actually, very nice color scheme from them. But continuing on, Gavin Scruton is now behind his teammate Henry Platt in terms of track position, but not in terms of grid position. So currently 20th position for the likes of Gavin Scruton and Henry Platt up in 7th, but currently behind each other. Okay, no, never mind. I thought I noticed the difference. That could have been cool. I actually almost thought that the one Team Triad racing car had an orange roof and the other one had a black roof. That would have been quite a cool differentiator at most. And I'm still just trying to get these championship standings before the end of this race, because I do not want to announce anything too quickly and then we face a couple of consequences, because that would not be good if the points are not aligned. You know, it could affect the outcome of this championship. We don't want to see that. Arjan Balder saying, go Carrot, you can catch him. So Garrett Bukes currently with the fastest lap of the session, still trying to catch up the likes of Mark Henry. And 8.4 second gap though currently, so he's got a long way to go before he catches the likes of... Oh, never mind. Garrett Bukes just behind Johan Blucknote, who's now making his pit stop count. So Garrett Bukes will now take that position away. Mark Henry up into 2nd position. And Richard van Heerden, now the current P1 leader, also with 2 pit stops left to go. So he is going to also lose out time the next time he comes into the pit lane. But currently sitting behind a back marker, that looks like, again, the likes of Chris Collison, I believe, just ahead of him. That is indeed the likes of Chris Collison just in front of Richard van Heerden. And he is rocking around still with that SimX Raceface Ferrari. Unfortunately, getting under pressure now from a blue flag. We're going almost under 32 minutes left of this race. And drivers are really starting to show that skill show. 15th and below, almost every single one of them currently sitting with all their pit stops finished. Ron Liebenberg, Ulrich de Jager, Jonathan Chislett, and Gavin Scruton, and then Ron van der Walt currently sitting with all their pit stops complete. So great stuff from them. They don't have to worry about anything unless they get drive-throughs and stop-goes. But I'm going to stop talking there because usually when we talk about those forbidden penalties, they unfortunately seem to happen a lot more. Especially with Steven. He seems to whisper into the track and engrave penalties. It's like he's like a blacksmith on the track of penalties. So he always has to watch out with what he says, because most of the time he says something and then it happens. He says something about someone crashing out, it happens. So he's got to always watch out for that, but thankfully he's on the pro side, so hopefully not putting too much of a burden on the pro drivers. But Richard van Heerden still throwing it out in first for the Project Vapor Green Hulk Ferrari 296. And now that I realize it, that purplish tint on the car is actually reddish. Not too much like the Hulk. I'm seeing like a purplish tint on the side of the car there where the green is mixing with the red. But still, regardless, I'm going to be calling it the Hulk for the final half an hour. What is the point of changing up now? I mean, we've got a couple minutes left of the session, and that will round off our season. But currently, Mark Henry, our net P1 leader, currently sitting in first position. He's got one pit stop left to go. He's now under pressure, obviously, from the likes of Carrot Bukes, but he's got a good gap in between them, as he did perform a faster pit strategy. So the Honda NSX currently leading in first position right now. So great stuff from him. He's doing incredibly well, but Carrot Dukes will have to try and catch up to try and counter against a couple of the other bottom drivers. So Johan Bloknoot down into 13th position now, after unfortunately doing his pit stop, and now he's missed out a little bit. So unfortunate things to see. I'm still not receiving these championship standings, unfortunately. Just trying to get those sorted so that we don't have to worry about them. Let's see if we can find them anywhere. Let's see if we can get a hold of Mr. Hansi to give us those championship standings. I wonder if Mr. Hansi is in our... I wonder if he is inside of the Pro Division stream. It might definitely be so. And if he is, then yeah, we'll have to just try and work our way around it to try and get him to send it to us. Let's see if we can try and get him on the phone. To try and get him to send those results to us on Discord. That way we can just get everything sorted. We don't have to make false assumptions, and we can get it all clear for the end of the race. Alrighty then, so we popped him a message now just to try and see if he can get those results to us so that we can see if Johan Bloknoot will be the winner of our Pro-Am Championship. Because now that I think about it, not too sure if he will be 100% set in stone due to that championship standings being for the previous round and not the current round. So something to definitely look out for. We don't want to make any form of errors or false assumptions at the end of this championship. We do not want to give that track experience to the wrong person. And that is the biggest issue that we do not want to face. So let's make sure it does not happen. But continuing on the racing now, we've got just under half an hour left, 28 minutes left of racing. Henry Platt currently back up in 4th position, but the only driver on grid with 2 pit stops left to go. So definitely something to take into account. He is currently sitting up nice and high, but it's not going to play off too well when that clock strikes. Cool, we have been notified that we'll get the link to the new championship standings, so let's wait for it, and then we can start doing some calculations to see who will be our championship if the current point standings sit. And that's always the fun part about the final round of the season, is seeing who will come out on top. And you know, it's going to be a close one, but we'll have to wait and see who is going to be the winner of the RACEFACE.PRO Red Star GT3 Pro-Am Championship for Season 19. And please do not forget that we've got the RACEFACE.PRO PokerBet GT3 Championship Season 19, the Pro Division, also being live streamed on YouTube with the fellow commentator of Steven Koenig. So make sure to also go check that out. Cool, we've got the updated standings yet, so let's have a look. So currently, from what we are seeing, let's have a look here. So Johan Bloknoot sitting on 287 points, and then the likes of Carrot Dukes sitting on 230 points. So 287 minus the likes of 230, which would mean 57, is it? 287 minus 230. 57 points gap, which means, unfortunately, it still stands that Johan Bluknoot will be the championship winner. I say that unfortunately in terms of we don't get to have the element of surprise at the end of this race to know who will be the winner. So he's got a 57 point gap, which means that he will definitely still be the winner after this, as it's not enough points. Well, it's too many points for the likes of Carrot Bukes to try and chase. He won't be able to get that in one race. He would need more than one race to try and catch that. So he will be fighting for second. Carrot Bukes currently sitting in second position with 230 points. Henry Platt sitting in third with 218 points. So that is a 12-point gap between Henry Platt and Carrot Bukes. Currently, if everything stays as standing, Henry Platt will not beat Carrot Bukes for second place, but Richard van Heerden might pose as a threat to Henry Platt after he makes that pit stop, as Richard van Heerden is currently in 7th position, whereas Henry Platt is currently sitting in 4th, but he's got 2 pit stops left. So Richard van Heerden sitting in 7th, he's got only 1 pit stop left to do. So could play as a crucial decider going into the final round over here to see who will actually come out on top. Bradley Searle doing his final pit stop. He's into the pit lane, makes a bit of contact, and behind him is the championship leader of Johan Bluknoot coming in to do his final pit stop. So he'll be clean in the no more wake of having to do a pit stop, and he will then be pushing for the final couple of minutes of this race. We've got 25 minutes left of this race, 15 minutes left to do your pit stops. So we've got the likes of Five Star still sitting in 13th position, Ian Upton in 9th position, who's got to do his pit stop. Johan Bluknoot and Bradley Searle just did them, and then Richard van Heerden, Ronald Child, Jan Reboerte, Henry Platt, who still has 2 to do, Jason Landsberg, Carrot Bukes, and Mark Hennebury, all still having to do 2 pit stops currently. So not 2 pit stops, sorry, 1 more pit stop to go, but they've all still got pit stops to do. So potentially could play into the effect of some of those drivers who have already finished all their pit stops. Bradley Searle comes out in 13th, and Johan Bluknoot comes out in 16th after completing all of his pit stops. He's now having a bit of a fight there with the likes of Cara Pretorius, who is in 12th position. Why is he fighting with Johan? No, he's not fighting, no. Johan Bluknoot under pressure from another driver. Who is that? That looks like 15th, and definitely not Cara Pretorius because he's in 12th. So who is Johan Bluknoot fighting with in 15th? Is that Ulrich de Arca? Indeed, it is Ulrich de Arca. Currently sitting in 16th behind the likes of Johan Bluknoot, and trying to put pressure on him as he just comes out the pit. Jan Reboerte goes into the pit lane to serve his pit stop now. And great stuff from him. I'm just going to quickly grab a little bit of water, and then we will be back to finish off the commentating here for the final round here. Alrighty then, and back onto the action. Jan Reboerte makes it a very quick pit stop for himself, coming out nice and hot in that Porsche, and he is now clear on pit stops, sitting in 7th position actually with all his pit stop cleared. So that's going to be a great finishing position for him if he can hold tight towards the end. 7th position with no pit stops left to do. He's currently sitting as the highest driver with no pit stops needing to be done. Richard van Heerden in 6th position ahead of him is currently sitting with 1 pit stop left to go. Johan Verveers in 8th position, and then Renzo Mitteleni in 9th. But great stuff so far from the likes of who are we looking at now? Who just finished their it was Jan Reboerte, yeah. So he's currently sitting in 7th, yeah. So great stuff from him. He's going to finish nicely. He's just got to hold it out till the end of the race to make it count. So we'll have to see if he can do it. Chris Collison currently sitting in 17th after that penalty he got, the stop go 30, and still sitting nicely in front of Gavin Scruton, Jonathan Chislett, Arno Kraus, and Ron van der Walt, who's now on the pit lane. Don't tell me we've lost another driver. Ron van der Walt currently sitting in the pit lane. Not too sure why. I don't know if he's got damage of any sort, but he doesn't have any pit stops left to go. But he is 5 laps down. So I believe he might be out of this race. Unfortunately, putting the plug and saying it's not worth it. But come on, man. The final race. You've got to cross that checker flag no matter how many laps down you are. Cross it, get it done with, and then we can check you out in the paddock at the end. And faced 5-star and Ian Upton, still 2 drivers fighting with each other, actually. 5-star, actually, no, never mind. 5-star is a couple seconds away from the likes of Ian Upton, but currently still 2 drivers in the mid-pack, 10th and 11th, who still need to do pit stops. So they are going to be caught up by the likes of Carapet Torres, Bradley Searle, and all the other drivers below. Johan Blicknote sitting in 15th position after doing all of his pit stops. And they are going to unfortunately get caught up to after performing those pit stops. But still, a driver of note is Henry Platt, who still has 2 pit stops left to go with 11 minutes left. So he obviously put in a massive amount of fuel at the beginning of this race. He probably knew what strategy he was going to run. A long-term, play it long strategy where he's just going to put in 2 little loads of fuel for his first and second pit stop. Obviously, one of them will be a splash and dash of 1 liter of petrol. But still, I mean, that's incredible to think that he has made this car last for about an hour already, and he hasn't actually had the need to pit or anything. He literally has not brought the car in. He has not slowed down. The car has been throwing it around track for an hour already, with damage as well on the front of the car. So he has not needed to do anything so far. I'm not too sure if he's even going to actually repair that car, because he knows it's going to add time to the pit stop. So he might just stay out with damage. It doesn't look like it's affecting his time too much. Current fastest is at 2 minutes and 6.8. Obviously, about 2 seconds pace off of Carrot Bukes, currently sitting with the fastest of 2 minutes and 4.4. And then Mark Henry sitting in front of him with a 2 minutes and 4.8. So, you know, a little bit faster for these 2 front drivers. Unfortunately, it does look like Johan Blicknote is not going to be able to pull it up towards the top of the grid here, down in 15th. And he's way too far off, unfortunately, to pose as a threat to any of these front-running drivers. But we've got 9 minutes left of the pit window now before we close it off and say goodbye for the final time of Season 19 here. And we've still got a couple of drivers who need to get those pit stops done. So playing a very late and risky game, especially Henry Platt with 2 pit stops needing to be done. And we'll have to see how it all does indeed play out. To see, you know, who will come out on top, who will play the beneficial card, and potentially come out on top. And that is something we're going to have to watch, wait, and see. And, you know, see what's going to happen. But we're going to quickly just make sure something is all good. Just need to quickly double check something here on the streaming platform just for the end of the race. We'll be back in 15 seconds or so. Alrighty, and then we are back, just ensuring that everything is good for the finale of this race over here. We've got 18 minutes left now until we sunset this season of Season 19 for the RACEFACE.PRO PokerBet and Red Star Sprint and Championship races here for RaceFace. That's Season 12 for the Sprint Series and Season 19 for the main series. So incredible stuff to see from RaceFace about how long we have progressed so far. But here comes Henry Platt into the pit lane at last. And so same with the likes of Carrot Bukes, who's currently performing his final pit stop. Will Mark Henry come in soon as well? Very quick pit stop from Carrot Bukes. Here comes Henry Platt. Will it be a repair as well, or will he keep the car strict like that? No repairs on the front of that McLaren. Getting the car out as fast as he can to try and get it finished with. He knows he's only got 17 minutes left of racing. So is it going to be worth it to get that car repaired, spare the extra time, and potentially lose a couple of positions? So here goes Henry Platt, locked into his pit box. We'll come back with him as soon as we see him exiting the pit lane to see if he has made any changes to that car. But here comes Richard van Heerden. They're making that overtake happen. Jean-Ray Burt are coming along now in 7th. Currently the leading mid-pack driver with no pit stops needing to be done. But I believe Carrot Bukes will not lose position. Currently down in 4th. and John Roberta in 7th. So unfortunately not gaining the position on him. He will gain the position on the likes of Henry Platt and Richard van Heerden. And Henry Platt, let's go on board with him to see, and no, he did not repair the front of that McLaren. He's decided it's going to take too much time, it's not worth it, and keeping that car out on grid. But Ronald Childs up to 3rd position now. Garrett Buick still sitting in 4th, but currently still holding the fastest lap of the session. He's going to have to wait for Mark Henry, Jason Landsberg, and Ronald Childs to complete their pit stops. And this is going to be an interesting one to watch. We know Mark Henry did his splash and dash pit stop as his first pit stop, which means his next pit stop is going to be a rather long pit stop. He's going to have to put a lot of fuel in and get the car going again. So do you think Garrett Buick is going to be able to get the jump on him from obviously completing his splash and dash second and not first? So, you know, he's done all of his pit stops now. He had an incredibly fast pit stop as his last pit stop, and Mark Henry's next one is going to be quite a long one. So we'll have to try and keep on him. Here goes Mark Henry into the pit lane now for the Slick Racing Honda NSX. Coming into the pit lane, will it be enough? So he's on the main straight. Here comes Garrett Buick, and he's going through the chicane now, coming onto the final semi-hairpin. I don't know if it's going to be enough. Mark Henry's already in his pit lane. Yep, this is definitely his long stop. You can see he's in there for a while, getting that car onto the jacks, possibly putting on a new set of tires. Here comes Garrett Buick down the main straight. There's Mark Henry in the pit lane, and he has indeed lost out to Garrett Buick. So Garrett Buick's getting the jump on him after doing the better pit stop strategy. He goes around turn 1, and here comes Mark Henry only now out of the pit lane. So a very big gap between the likes of them. Ronald Childs into the pit lane now. So there we go. Jason Landsberg will be our effective P1 while Garrett Buick attempts to catch up now. He's currently in 4th position, and he's going to have to try and catch Alrighty then, guys, the last 15 minutes of the championship. It's actually quite a sad thing to see that we're sunsetting this season, and you know, we started this a couple of weeks ago, 8 weeks ago to be specific. About 2 months ago in July, we started this season, and we're about to finish it off. Give the top 3 a share of 150,000 rand in the pro division, and a track experience for the Pro-Am winner of the championship. So incredible scenes here. It's incredible to see that you know, this has already gone so fast, and thankful that we get to have another season in October of this pure adrenaline filled racing here at RACEFACE. So incredible scenes from all of these drivers. Jason Landsberg, still him and Feist are the only 2 drivers needing to pit. So Henry Platt actually didn't lose out too much, down in 9th now after doing both of his pit stops. So he did them relatively fast actually, and didn't lose out too much. Still sitting in the top 10, so he hasn't lost out as bad as he thought he probably would. The number 9 car in 9th position, so great stuff from him. But Reginald Mitterlaney up into 7th position, so great stuff from him. And like we mentioned, John Roberta will get a nice jump. He's up into 4th position, so great finish from him if he manages to keep that Porsche up nicely on track. Currently the leading Porsche, followed by Randimbo down in 15th position. He's doing incredibly well. Here goes Jason Landsberg into the pit, and Garrett Duplessis will definitely catch him. He's already gone past. Will Mark Henry be able to catch him? Yes, here he comes around the straight, and where is Jason Landsberg? He's only stopping now. So there goes Mark Henry past. Will Jean-Ray Buerta get him? Jean-Ray Buerta on the straight now. Jason Landsberg still in the pit. Jean-Ray Buerta comes onto the straight. Jason Landsberg comes out of the pit lane. And here just comes Jean-Ray Buerta, just getting past the likes of Jason Landsberg. So that means it's a current top 3 for Jean-Ray Buerta. Incredible stuff from him. The livery man is nicely up into 3rd position there after getting the jump on Jason Landsberg, who had a bit of a slow pit stop, unfortunately. You know, trying to get that car stopped, getting it in, and unfortunately losing that 1st position down. It's a 4th now, and Jean-Ray Buerta has played the ultimate undercut strategy. Got all those pit stops done, but he's also set some incredible fast times. Fastest time, a 2 minutes and 5.5. That's faster than the average of the entire grid. We're looking at 2 minutes and 6s and 2 minutes and 7s for most of the grid, so great stuff from him. Obviously, the only person that has beaten him there, well, the only 2 people that have really beaten him is the likes of Garrett Buick and Jace and Mark Henry with the 2 minutes and 4.8 and 2 minutes and 4.4. So incredible stuff from him. He's really shown what an undercut can do, up into third position now for the team Kurugma Racing. And incredible stuff from him. He's got 11 minutes left now. 5-star playing it very, very risky. He's got 1 minute and 49 seconds left, and he's still got a full pit stop left to go. What is he going to do? Is he going to come in at the end of this pit lane? If he doesn't come in at the end of this pit, he will have missed the pit window. So let's hope that doesn't happen. Otherwise, 5-star will get a 130-second penalty added to his end of race time, which would be really unfortunate to see, considering he's had a really good, consistent season so far. But 1 minute and 22 seconds left before this pit window closes. Is it going to be enough for 5-star? If he comes in now, he should make it. Coming around the S's now, he's still got a minute left. Will it be enough? I think it's just going to be enough. He's actually played it very so on the wire, and he's going to have to take it very cautiously. You know, coming into the pit lane, he's got 1 minute left. But here he comes around the top of the bend here, coming down the back straight, and then he'll go through the chicane and into the pit lane. So he's just playing it very nail-bitingly here. He's actually starting to scare me. But as long as he comes into the pit lane now, he'll be fine. He's got 40 seconds left. If he had 20 seconds left, he would literally be playing it on the nail bite, which would be quite dangerous to actually watch. But here we go, 30 seconds left. Coming around the final chicane. Is he going to come into the pit lane? He has to if he wants to ensure. And here he comes. Just cuts across. He's got 20 seconds left before the pit window closes. That is the closest time I've seen so far in terms of pit window closing. He's coming to the pit lane now. There's the pit lane board. And he's just made it in with 10 seconds left before the pit lane closed. So incredible scenes from him. And there we go. No one else coming into the pit lane after that. 3, 2, 1, and the pit lane is officially closed. So he just made it in time to get that pit stop done. It would have been actually quite sad if you know, it counted that pit stop needed then when the pit stop window closed. Thankfully, it only counts it after he comes out of the pit lane. And as you can see, it was just a quick splash and dash, but unfortunately losing out on a couple of positions, down into 16th position already. And not too happy about that. At least he did not receive the 130-second penalty that he thought he would be getting. So great stuff from him. Playing it on the edge there. A little bit scary, I won't lie. But let's review the current standings before we end this race off and end the season off in 9 minutes or so. So Garrett Buick sitting in first position for the Sim Alpha SRS Ferrari, followed by Mark Henry in the Slick Racing Honda NSX. Jason Landsberg in the Jason Custom Team Aston Martin AMR Vantage. Ronald Childs in the BEC Aston Martin AMR Vantage. In fourth, John Roberta in fifth for the Team Kurugma Racing Porsche 992. Followed by Reginald Mittelani in the Noob Nation Evo McLaren 720S in sixth position. Johan de Veers in the Hybrid Racing Ferrari 296 in seventh. Richard van Heerde in the Project Vapor Ferrari 296 in 8th position. Henry Platt follows in the Team Tryhard Racing McLaren 720S GT3 Evo in 9th position. Followed by Johan Blicknoot, who takes the top 10 now for the Omnius Gaming Nitro Ford Mustang GT3 in 10th position. Cara Pretorius for the Griffin Sim Racing Ferrari 296 in 11th. Followed by Bradley Searle, just behind him for the Pandacity Esports Ferrari 296 in 12th position. Ron Liebenberg in the Pandacity Esports Ferrari 296, Porsche 992 in 13th position. Ulrich de Jager in the Griffin Sim Racing Ferrari 296 in 14th position. Ian Upton in the Project Vapor Ferrari 296 in 15th position, followed by 5-star in the, I believe that's a Libertas livery. Indeed, it is a Libertas Ferrari 296 in 16th position. Chris Collison in 17th. For the Sim X Raceface Ferrari 296 car. Gavin Scruton in 18th for the Team Tryhard Racing McLaren 720S GT3 Evo. Jonathan Chislett in the no team Aston Martin AMR Vantage in 19th position, and then Arno Kraus in the 20th position for the Team Tryhard Racing Ford Mustang, and then obviously rounding off the grid would be Ron van der Walt in 21st, which is unfortunately a whole 10 laps down by now. So unfortunately he does not really count. But we've got Tamir Bukes in the virtual grandstand saying, go, Garrett, go. He's got just a couple minutes left of this final race to beat it all and take first position, second in the championship. if he continues to push like this, and great stuff from him. Let's have a look once more of what PokerBet will be offering to everybody here. The PokerBet Welcome to the Table, Play for Free, Win for Real initiative that they are hosting now. It's a new 2,000 Rand weekly free roll for the previous week's sign-ups, and that will happen every single Sunday at 7:15 every single Sunday every week. Make sure to go have a look at that. Go follow PokerBet on all of their socials. They are the one who have brought this amazing prize pool to RACEFACE, and currently ranking RACEFACE as the highest held prize pool sim racing league in South Africa due to PokerBet. Great stuff from them for the Sprint Series and the Pro Division for the GT3 Championship, and they've done an incredible job to sponsor these guys and give them the passion and the glory to try and push it all to the end. So amazing stuff from PokerBet, and they have done it just as we all intended it to go. But Carrot Bukes now 6 minutes left to go. Mark Henry a little bit further behind. He's got a massive gap now, about 18 or so seconds to the likes of Carrot Bukes, and they are going to be trying to push it out. And unfortunately, I don't think it's going to be enough for Mark Henry. 12-second gap actually to the likes of Carrot Bukes. It's not going to be enough, unfortunately, unless Carrot Bukes makes a mistake coming into the final couple of laps. Jason Landsberg in third position, trying to push it around, and he's managed to get ahead of Ronald Childs, who's in fourth position now for the BEC car. And Jason Landsberg pushing it nicely in the 619 Aston Martin. Reginald Mittelani also, and John Roberta, two of the highest finishes so far actually from both of these drivers. John Roberta doing incredibly well in fifth, followed by Reginald Mittelani in sixth. So great stuff from the two of them. They have done an incredible job to get themselves well into the top 10, and John Roberta getting himself into the top 5. And Johan Verveer is also someone who we've seen show amazing progression throughout the season for the hybrid racing. EG Evolved for I-296, he's done incredibly well. And he can finish this season off knowing that he's done a really good job. You know, he's proved himself, he's done incredibly well. And he can look towards the next season with hopes to try and finish even better. You know, he's currently sitting in 7th. Maybe next season he will try and finish in 4th or 3rd, you know, trying to round it off for Pro-Am, or even getting promoted to the Pro Series. It's definitely a possibility, and he will have to determine if he will get there. We will see that for all of these drivers, even Richard van Heerden for the Project Vapor, Green, Hulk Ferrari 296, Henry Platt, someone who's been a contestant very well, nicely into the top 3 of this race. And let's have a look at what would happen here. Henry Platt currently sitting in 3rd in the championship, 9th on track with 218 points. Rich van Heerden is only 1 position ahead, so I don't think it'll be enough for Richard van Heerden to take 3rd from Henry Platt. I think he'll keep 3rd in the championship, and unfortunately in the Pro-Am division he won't be receiving any form of award. It'll only be the winning driver for the championship, and that is the only kind of perks you get the Pro division. That's what PokerBet is offering, the share to the top 3 in the championship standings of 150,000 Rand, the biggest prize pool in South Africa, and hoping to make it bigger and bigger as the years keep going on. RaceFace is only but developing as time goes on, but we've got 3 minutes left now before the end of this race. We've been going around this track already for a whole 78 minutes now, 77 minutes actually, and these drivers are knackered. They are done with it. They are done with racing. They've done 8 full rounds of pure adrenaline-filled racing. They are looking forward to their break, but they have to push it for the next 3 minutes. That's about 1.5 laps left before the end of this race. So, you know, for drivers like Johan Bluknoot now with a 2 minutes and 4.9, really trying to push it all to the end, try and get another position on Henry Platt, and you know, before the end of this race, really starting to push that car to its absolute limits. Carrot Buke still leading very nicely. He's got a fat gap between him and the likes of Mark Henry. So if all goes well for Carrot Bukes, it looks like it's definitely going to be a race win here for him coming across the line. In the next couple of minutes, it looks like it's still going to be another 2 laps after this. He's going to complete another full lap, and then after that it'll be final lap. So still a little bit more time to go for these drivers, but absolutely incredible stuff. And we've had an absolutely incredible season with all of these drivers. Some of them have really shown progress and why they deserve to go to Pro. Some of them showing why they are absolute contenders in Pro-Am, and then others obviously showing that they might need to put in a little bit more effort here and there to try and keep themselves afloat in Pro-Am, as Pro-Am is really not as simple as people think it is. Yes, it is indeed the next division to pro. But these guys sure as hell do drive like they are pros. They drive incredibly well. They drive clean. And, you know, they keep that consistent. They keep it going and they don't hassle. They don't cause any issues. And that is exactly what they try to do to keep the car going over and over again. And the aim is for some of these pro drivers, especially like Carrot Bukes and, you know, Johan Blicknote and all of them, will be to go to pro for next season. Some of the drivers will get an automatic promotion after winning the championship and, you know, coming in high positions in the championship. They'll get an automatic promotion to pro. So we might be seeing the likes of Johan Blicknote in pro division next season, fighting it out with some other fellow Omnius Gaming teammates. Currently, he is the only Omnius Gaming driver in the Pro-Am division. So he is going to need to push it as much as he can to try and get it up there. Now, Gerard Bukes, as you can see, setting off some flashes. He's so tired and setting off flashes to some of the back markers. He have 1 minute and 10 seconds left. Here he comes across to finish off the second last lap. This will mark the leader on the final lap as he comes across the line over here. 1 minute is not enough to complete another lap, which means that this will be the final lap after he crosses the line. And we will be rounding off round 8 over here. There we go. Jeff has indeed said leader is on the final lap. And that will be the final lap of the final round of season 19 for the RACEFACE.PRO Red Star Pro-Am GT3 Championship. And incredible scenes here that we've seen, guys. And we only hope that it gets even better. We hope to have a Pro-Am stream going into season 20 next season, near the end of this year in October. And great stuff to give everyone a chance to, you know, have a bit of visibility and spectatorship around the track, which is always an amazing thing to see. But continuing on, we're going to continue letting these drivers absolutely throw it around track, seeing where they can finish, what they can do. And let's see what they can do coming into the final couple of seconds. The race is officially marked at 00.00, and that is officially it. So once the likes of Carrot Bukes crosses the line, it'll be it for the final time for the season. Whoa, it has been an absolute season. It's been a long one. It's been a really good one. These drivers have shown their absolute remarkable pace, and they will continue to show it throughout the remainder of the season and any form of league offerings from RaceFace. But, you know, props to Carrot Bukes, someone who has pushed themselves to the limit. They've had the constant support in the virtual grandstand to help him keep afloat, especially at a rainy day here at Nürburgring. And here he comes along the back straight, and he is going to be closing it off. And we hope to see some form of celebratory flashes as he closes off season 19 for the Pro-Am division here. Here he comes into the final chicane before we head onto the main straight across the finish line for the last time here at Nürburgring for round 8 of the championship. And Gerard Bukes coming around. Here he comes. We're going to go on board with him as he comes around. Here he goes. Gerard Bukes has officially done it. And he is the winner of round 8 of the RACEFACE.PRO GT3 Pro-Am Championship. And incredible stuff from him. He has officially finished the race off strong, bringing in maximum points with that 52 points gap. So a little bit more points if he could have been able to achieve. He could have possibly chased down the likes of Johan Blicknote in 8th. Mark Henry crossing the line now in 2nd, followed by the likes of Jason Landsberg finishing off nicely in 3rd position. And Ronald Childs will come across the line a little bit further down the line. Jason Landsberg, incredible drive to finish it off in 3rd position. A good undercut strategy as well. Ronald Childs, someone who has had a bit of struggle across the past races, comes across the line in 4th, followed by John Huerta. Incredible position, one of his highest positions this season, crossing the line in 5th. Johan Viviers coming through the final chicane now and around the final turn before he heads onto the main straight. Incredible stuff from him. Rounding off the top 6, Johan Viviers comes in hot in the Team Hybrid Racing 296, showing some celebratory weaving. Richard van Heerden coming around in the background. He's under pressure from the likes of Johan Blicknote. Will it be an overtake? Very close, but unfortunately Johan Blicknote just now getting in. Henry Platt coming around in 9th position. Caro Pretorius in 10th. Bradley Searle coming across the line in 11th. Ron Liebenberg coming across now in 11th. And then North Diaco will come across as well in 12th position just behind him. That's actually a race just down to the line. Here comes Reginald Mittelani as well, who is out of fuel. Reginald Mittelani has run out of fuel. That is so unfortunate. On the back, just before the back straight, Reginald Mittelani has run out of fuel, unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen. And Ian Upton coming around for the final time in 12th position. And incredible stuff from him. So currently, the only driver left on track, Reginald Mittelani, who is trying to finish that car off and bring it around. Super unfortunate stuff from him. Maybe he'll get a nudge from Mark Henry, who's just in front. Doesn't look like it. Looks like Mark Henry is going away. And Reginald, unfortunately, having to get the car in limp, bringing it home. He's got no one to push him down across the line. And this is such an eventful and a dramatic way to finish the season, is by rolling the car over the line. And unfortunately, he is not going to be able to cross. He's going to put the car into the pit lane. And it's not going to be enough. The session has officially ended. Reginald Mittelani has finished it off. Great season to everybody. And we are going to head over to our breaker and then into our commentary box. And then we'll have a couple of interviews. And we'll see you guys then. Well, oh well, what an absolute season it has been. That rounds off the closing off of our RACEFACE.PRO Red Star Pro-Am GT3 Championship for Season 19. It's been an absolutely incredible race to watch. It's been an absolutely incredible season to commentate alongside of. And man, it's just going to continue to get better and better. We're just waiting for a couple more people to line us up in the commentary box, waiting for the likes of... So Carrot Dukes is really waiting for us in the commentary box. Let's see if we can get a couple more in. Henry Platt, I believe he's currently in the chat. You can definitely join into your room. Well done. I think you've achieved third in the championship. Let's just double confirm. Yeah, I don't think Rich Van Heerder had the one up on you, unfortunately, so I believe that will be third. You're welcome to join Interview Pro-Am, but we're just waiting for the actual race winners to join us in the commentary box. That would obviously be the likes of Carrot Bukes, followed by Mark Hennebury in second, and then obviously the likes of Jason Landsberg in third. But not too sure if we're going to get everybody in, so we'll use who we can to get everyone in. Jason Landsberg has joined us. That's great to see. Not too sure if Mark Henry is going to be joining us. So we're going to start off with our race winner as he is available. So the official race winner of the final round, round 8 of the RACEFACE.PRO Red Star GT3 Pro-Am Championship, Mr. Carrot Bukes, how are you feeling finishing off the round 8 with a first position finish and finishing off in second for the championship?
Yeah, thanks. It's my first win, so I'll definitely take that. Yeah, treacherous conditions, but yeah, it worked out well.
Absolutely. Well, you managed to pull it through, taking second in the championship. Congratulations. Just missing out on that Red Star Raceway track experience, but still an absolutely phenomenal drive. How are you feeling going into season 20 in October?
Yeah, we pretty new. Me and my teammate Chris Collison, we're pretty new to ACC, and we're learning. We wanna progress. We wanna move forward. In the dry, we still need to get some things in order, but we're getting there for sure.
Absolutely. I just want to quickly mention something to the virtual grandstand. I see Johan Blicknot is in the virtual grandstand. Please, will you not go and join the interview pro-am room for me? That would be greatly appreciated. But back to you, man. Back to Carrot Bukes. You've had an immense amount of support this season in the virtual grandstand. How is it? Has it assisted at all, having so much support and love thrown at you from the grandstands?
Yeah, I don't know if you see Sumerae, because that's my wife. She never misses a race. Really, always supports me, and you know, I'm glad she's so into it.
That's absolutely incredible. It's always amazing to see the family support coming in. well, you've officially done it. You've rounded off the final round with a win and taken second position, like we've mentioned. And that is officially the end of Season 20. So overall, how are you feeling across the board for Season 19?
Good. You know, like I said, we need to fix a couple of things here, there, setups and stuff with tire work. Just onto night race quickly. You know, I went out, I changed tires, and you know, and I had to because I had to change fuel, and we were doing personal best, so I was doing personal best right there, and I thought, okay, no, I made a mistake changing for tires, and I thought Mr. Hennebury changed really late for tires, which I think was a mistake. I think he had the race in the bag if he didn't change for tires because he was still very fast. But yeah, luckily for me, that worked out.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, you pulled the correct strategy. You managed to pull it across the line, and you've done an incredibly well done job. So I'm going to give you the floor to mention anything that you are thinking about, any of the amazing sponsors who have decided to pull through and give you guys these amazing prizes going in for Season 19, your team, and the support and love that you've received. And yeah, go ahead for it on the final time for Season 19.
All right. First off, just for my teammate Chris Collison, there's lots more to come from him for sure. He's a really good driver. Just had some bad luck. And then RaceFace. You know, without you guys, wouldn't be possible. The commentators, the quality of the stream is amazing. And then on to the sponsors: Red Star Raceway, Ardendorf, SA Lube, PokerBet. All these guys. If I miss somebody, I'm sorry. Amazing stuff.
Absolutely incredible. Well, thank you so much for joining us for Season 19. We can't wait to see what you're going to throw around in Season 20. And absolutely incredible performance once more, Mr. Carrot Bukes.
Thank you very much.
Alrighty then, and we are going to be bringing in our second place, actually our third place. Our second place isn't here tonight just yet, but our third place finisher, Jason Landsberg, who actually managed to pull a nice pit stop strategy and pull himself up into the podium position. Jason Landsberg, how are you feeling after that podium position for round 8?
Oh, that was pretty tough. I had a bad start in the beginning of the race, and went back to like 8th place, decided to pit early on, get in some clear air without spray and so on, and did some good laps, and it paid off at the end.
Absolutely incredible. I mean, you managed to pull it through, and I mean, you've been someone who we've noticed across the board a couple of times. You've always tried to pull an undercut strategy. So has that always been something that you've done throughout your racing here at ACC and RaceFace, or is it a relatively new strategy that you've been trying to pull and trying to gain advantage of?
I try to do it most of the time. I try to read the race as well if I can. If there's traffic or so on, I usually try to read when it's maybe better to go pit and get out in clean air.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, that's always the main point of strategy is, you know, to try and gain that advantage. But you've done an absolutely incredible job, man. How are you feeling going into Season 20 for the RaceFace Championship in October?
I'm pretty confident as long as it's raining all the time.
Seems like the rain definitely suits your driving style. We've noticed it in Hungaroring as well. So
Yeah.
definitely a trait of yours. But congratulations once more for finishing in the top 3 spot here at the Nürburgring, and a very wet one indeed. I'm going to give you the floor to mention anything that you are thinking about right now. Possibly our amazing sponsors here at RaceFace, your team, if you have any that have assisted you throughout the season, or anything or anyone that has actually possibly helped you throughout the season.
I just want to thank RaceFace and the admin from RaceFace for putting up a great event, and to all our sponsors as well. Yeah, at RaceFace as well.
Absolutely incredible. Thank you so much for attending Season 19 here at RaceFace. We can't wait to see what you'll do in Season 20. And go and have a nice night of celebrations for finishing in the top 30 here for final time for Season 19.
Thank you very much, man.
Alrighty then, so we do not have any more people from the current race, although we do have our championship standing people in the commentary box. So we're going to pull up our third place in championship standings over the course of 8 rounds here at RaceFace.PRO for the Pro-Am division. Henry Platt is in the box with us here, and he's done an incredible job to bring it in for the third place position for the championship standings. Henry, how are you feeling?
I feel like I could have done better, but I think for my third championship, I should be happy. I've only started in like February with sim racing, so I think that's a very good result for me.
Absolutely, you've managed to secure yourself a top 3 spot in a championship, and you're saying that you're relatively new to it. That is definitely an achievement of note, and absolutely astonishing stuff. How has it felt joining into the sim racing community and, you know, being a part of a much bigger family?
Obviously, when there's a lot of fights, but it's quite funny. But everyone is so nice. Like sometimes you make a mistake and then you think, oh shit, I just ruined that guy's race. And then afterwards they'll message you and say, don't worry, it's okay. And like my team, I joined TTHR and all the dumb questions I ask them always because I don't know everything. Like when we are racing in the rain, like tonight. I don't know anything about setup, and they always help me. So yeah, I really enjoy sim racing, and I'll probably get more into racing as well because it's just awesome.
Absolutely, and it's a massive thing and a massive passion that is just growing exponentially here in South Africa. But how are you feeling going into season 20, considering it will not be your first championship? You're no longer a newbie or rookie on the grid. You're now fully fleshed in. How are you feeling going into season 20 in October?
Yeah, so I'm actually quite confident. I think we'll move up to the pro division now, like the top 3 or so. So that's going to be tough. Those guys are really quick. But I mean, this season I made so many mistakes. Like the previous race, pitting before the pit window, changing setup just before a race like tonight, and giving myself a car that just planes everywhere. Uh, but that's how you learn, I guess. And I feel confident because I've learned quite a lot, made a lot of mistakes.
Absolutely, and that's the whole point of it, is to learn from mistakes, develop new habits that can possibly make you faster, and in the end, come out as a top benefactor. But I'm going to give you the floor now, Henry Mayer, to possibly address anybody that you wanting to, maybe our amazing sponsors here at RaceFace, your team over at Team Tryhard Racing, or anybody who assisted you in this, of getting the top 3 spot in the championship standings.
Yeah, so obviously, first off, we have to thank RaceFace and all the sponsors. Without them, we won't have anywhere to race. To all the other races in Pro-Am, I think it's quite a cool group to be with. Everyone is so nice. And congrats to the 2 top guys, Bekus and Blichnout. They are lightning fast. I'm quite excited to see how they go in Pro. And yeah, again, thanks to my team, thanks to the Hybrid Academy team. They also always help me. So yeah, and thanks to my girlfriend for actually letting me spend all this time on the sim racing.
Absolutely. Always going to make sure the priorities are set straight. But once again, congratulations for achieving top 3 in the RACEFACE.PRO, PokerBet, and Red Star GT3 Pro Championship here for season 19. We'll see you next time in season 20.
Thanks, man. And thank you for always doing the stream. It's quite
Absolutely.
nice. It's a pity you didn't stream the one that I won, but it's okay.
Absolutely.
Next time.
Next time, season 20 will be here live for all 8 adrenaline-filled minutes.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Alrighties, ladies and gentlemen, and for our final interview of the night, we're going to be swapping over, introducing our grand champion for the Pro-Am division, the one, the only, Johan Blichnout, who is the Season 19 GT3 Pro-Am Championship, and you have just won yourself the track experience sponsored by Red Star. How are you feeling, Johan?
I'm still catching a breath after tonight's race. Damn, I was swimming with the whales around here.
I can definitely believe that.
Yeah, and I would just wanna say thanks to the guys for keeping it clean tonight. And yeah, it was fun. Thanks to you guys for helping us with this. And then well done to Gerard for winning tonight. That was a massive race from you.
Tonight was an absolutely adrenaline-filled race. There were so much changes with the rain, and I mean, you have officially championed yourself here at the Pro-Am side of things. You are officially the champion, and you'll definitely be moving over to Pro. So how are you feeling for the Season 20 roundabouts here for the RaceFace Championship, moving on to Pro? How are you feeling swimming in a little bit deeper water?
It's gonna be excited. There's a lot more competitive guys there. It's not gonna be a walk in the park. You gotta watch out, hard battling for hour and 20 minutes. It's gonna be fun. Let's put it that way.
Now that's the whole point of it, is to try and get the most amount of entertainment out of it. You know, it's always about, you know, trying to get yourself into better and better positions and try and skill yourself up. So incredible stuff. How are you feeling? Obviously, we're going into season 20 now. You've claimed the championship spot now, and obviously also going ahead for the sprint series. Will you be attending the sprint series following on for next season, or will you be remaining your focus on the main championship?
I think I'm gonna dip my foot into the sprint series as well. I need to get as much track time as possible. Fairly new to ACC, coming from F1. And
awesome.
yeah.
That is absolutely amazing to hear. But once again, massive congratulations for winning the championship grand finale. You obviously didn't win tonight, but fortunately for you, you had enough points logged up in your piggy bank, and you've taken the win overall. And you've won the amazing track experience sponsored by Red Star. So we'll follow up with you on how that is going to be given out. But once again, I'm going to give the floor to you to mention anything you want to, possibly the amazing sponsors here at RACEFACE, and your team back at home in the garage, as well as anybody else who assisted you in the season.
Yeah, first off, thanks for Arendorf, PokerBet and SA Loop for making this possible. The biggest one is RACEFACE, giving us the opportunity to be seen and express our talents. And thanks for Red Star Raceway for the prize. And most important is my team for giving me a chance to prove myself.
Absolutely incredible. Well, it's been an amazing journey to watch you. You've shown the skill that you've been able to hone, and now you're being promoted to the Pro Division. We can't wait to see what you'll do in Season 20, and it's been an absolutely incredible one. Have a great night further, full of celebrations. You've won yourself a nice little prize, and we'll see you next time in Season 20.
All right, thank you, man. Have a good one.
You too. Have a great night. And that is indeed a wrap-up, ladies and gentlemen, of not only round 8, but our RACEFACE.PRO Red Star GT3 Pro Championship. That is a wrap. The championship is over, and points will be tallied up after some stewards have made a couple of corrections and stuff like that. But that is the overall gist of it. John Ray saying, well done, gents. Awesome racing tonight. Well done, Johan. Great job, champ. Great fellowship and sportsmanship coming from everyone here at RACEFACE, and that's what we love to see day in and day out. But one more big thing is a thank you message to every single person who stuck it out to the end of these 8 adrenaline-filled rounds with me and Steven, also in the sprint series. And it's been an absolutely incredible one to commentate and be here live for all of these events. You know, we unfortunately missed the first 2 rounds as we were still formulating some things, but we were up in action after round 3. And it has been an incredible thing since then, and I cannot wait to join all of you guys again in Season 20, bringing the action from Race 1, and seeing what people can start pulling out of their pockets. Some possible new races for Season 20. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But once again, thank you to everybody who joined us tonight, everybody who joined us across the course of the season. It's been an absolute pleasure commentating and being there for everybody in the virtual grandstand. Thank you to all of our sponsors, PokerBet, Arendorf Machine and Rod, SA Lube, Scallywags, Drift Academy, and of course Red Star Raceway for the Pro Am Championship. It's been an absolute pleasure for all of you guys, and once again mentioning the famous Stephen Koenig quote, because I can finally say it, the final time to everybody for Season 19, a good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and good night, everybody. We'll see you guys for Season 20 of the RACEFACE Pro Championship. Cheers.
With all the amazing racing that comes to you weekly, we have to give acknowledgement to our sponsors. Without them, this would not be possible here at RACEFACE.PRO. So starting off with our first sponsor, let's go and take your hats off to PokerBet. For all the tournaments, for all the cash games, daily free rolls, and sports betting, there's no better place to be and win with PokerBet. With it all revved up and you're looking for high speed, whether you're into drag, drift, or even long circuit, Red Star Raceway has got you covered. As we take a look off to all our machinery needs, head over to Arendorf Machinery Mart. Remember to keep it slick with SA Lube, 20 years of Castrol distribution. Sliding in to keep you on your toes, Scallywags Drift Academy will keep you right at the top of the pack. And if you're looking for all your streaming needs, head over to Tenvo Tech for all the overlays. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's been an honor having you. We'll see you